Hey, Mike. Oh, gone, Mike.
Just figuring this out here real quick. I don't know how it got adjusted, but it did. So let's see, FaceTime. Okay, let's try that. There I am.
There you
There's
are.
Steven.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so yeah, thanks for having us jump on here. And I thought we would just, is that like is that a background or is that your real
Oh,
area?
no, it's a background. It's just a Zoom thing. It is actually my grow room that we had at the house, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Is it a bedroom?
that was our formal living room. We turned into a whole grow space.
Oh, okay. Hey, yeah, make it happen.
That's right. Whatever you got to do.
And then did you end up having yeah, so what are you in now? How big is the area that you're in now?
The total square footage that we are renting is a warehouse of 4,000 square feet. The grow space / planting, harvesting, all that stuff that's taking place is about 3,000 square feet. And then the dish room and all that stuff, cleaning and all that's about 500. And then we now another 500 square feet for like the office / popcorn area.
Oh, so total like 8,000?
No, total 4,000.
Oh, but broken down like 3,000 for the grow area.
Yeah, 500, 500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So one of the questions I was thinking is in business, one of the things I've done that's been successful is like figuring out whatever it is that I'm doing, the concept of it, and then like going out and selling it before I buy all the equipment to do it. Does that make sense in this business to like go out and talk to people and see if there's a need before I'm ready to grow?
As cheap it is to start this business, I would say you need to grow stuff and have it available. The best thing you could ever do to make this business grow is to sample, right?
Gotcha.
Get people to eat it, get people to try it, then it's going to sell itself.
Okay.
So, but you don't need a lot to get started, right? Like you can do this easily for under 1,000, probably 500 if you really run a scrape and get started.
Okay.
We started right around $1,000, and we've never put another dime into the business. It's all generated its own money.
Oh, wow.
Right. Okay.
So,
How do you like
pretty
that,
cool.
Steve?
Yeah, I was listening. That's pretty cool. I could do that.
start with one rack, enough trays to fill it for that. Get a bale of soil, get some seeds, get some packaging, make some of your own labels, and then you grow and you have something ready in about 10 days. As soon as you get all the supplies,
Yeah.
and you can go out and start sampling and can get selling right away. I mean, you can start selling this business within a couple of weeks once you got the supplies.
That's pretty cool. How about I noticed some of the people you had interviewed they switched pretty quick they just went right into the restaurants. And does that make sense, or how do you see it as the first people we would sell?
Restaurants definitely is one avenue. Home deliveries, you get on Facebook, do Facebook ads, so that costs the more money. Restaurants are free because you just walk in, you sample, you give them a price sheet,
Yeah.
you get orders.
Yeah.
Not basically that simple, but breaking down very simple terms. But so you don't need to spend any more money. You don't need to spend any on advertising, any of that stuff. So you can keep it very lean by going to restaurants and our farmers markets and selling direct to that. But if you want to skip farmers market, restaurants is the easiest one to start selling right away to with no advertising.
So farmers market, would you put up a booth or would you go there and sell to people at the?
No, I'd put up a booth and have people come to your booth and and sell directly to them, and then you can talk direct to the customer. And if they allow you to sample there, definitely sample. Would always sample any place I can sample the product. I'm going to sample it.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of people don't necessarily know what it is and like it or whatever else until they try it. And it's with anything you're doing in life. If you sample a little bit, you give them a little taste, and they want more, right? So that's the whole concept there. So, but yeah, you'd have set up a booth, spend the 4 or 6 hours it takes to be at a farmer's market. It is time consuming, but it is a way to get in front of the customers faster.
Okay, so who are the customers? Do farmers market people, are they restaurants or is it more individuals?
You will have restaurant people that shop the farmers markets. Like I
Okay.
have one, Lorena, who you've seen in one of the interviews.
Mhm.
She does the farmers market, and one of her chefs will only come and buy it at the farmers market because he feels like he has to be seen at the farmers market buying stuff
Mm,
that he's getting at local. So some of them only will shop at the farmers market. We have one chef that we told him we could bring it to him, da da da, and he only gets it every couple of weeks. That he's got something special going on, and he gets it from the farmers market. That's the only where he gets it. So, but most of it, 95% of the sales is just to individuals at the market.
okay.
You will have chefs come by, and then say, like we worked on one chef for 6 months, and one day he came by and he's like, "I'm ready to buy your product. Come see me."
Ah,
So
okay.
you do get that from it too.
And then let's see here. Trying to think what else there is that would be important because do you think that there's room for this? Well, right now I live in Silicon Valley. It's very Whole Foods-ish. So do you think that this is a good place for that? Or do you think maybe there's so many hippies already selling this stuff that,
There couldn't be enough people growing it and selling it to supply every person that probably wants it,
okay.
right? Your population there's pretty huge.
Yeah, it's huge. It's millions.
Yeah. So I guarantee even if there was 20 growers growing there, that there's not enough of them to supply it to everybody who wants it.
Okay. And then my son is also looking at kind of proving this out in where we live, but it's very expensive here. So he likes Vegas. He's lived in Vegas before. He does racing out there.
Nice.
So does it make sense that it would work in Vegas? Because there's a ton of restaurants there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely restaurants would be something I would definitely going out, like even in your area, in that whole area, they're so aware of what microgreens are out
Right.
west, that it's an easier sell than here in the Midwest,
Yeah.
where, you could do a lot of education, right, of what it is, and what it does for you health wise and taste wise and all that stuff. You already got it to where it's a proven thing. People already probably heard about it or seen it or probably even ate it at some point.
Yeah.
At least the majority of the population probably. So much easier sell in that environment. And obviously chefs in the Vegas restaurants have probably all used it. And
Yeah.
I know there's one big farm out there. They're trying to, in Vegas, they're doing a whole little thing, but it's funded by millionaires, right?
Right.
So you can go in with it. You're a local farm, startup, blah, blah, blah. You can use that whole angle. A lot of chefs like working with that. Don't know how easy it is to get into casino chefs because,
Right.
so you'd have to figure that out.
Right.
But there's always a back door open, I say.
Yeah.
Every restaurant back door is open. So,
You got to figure it out.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. So,
And think about just getting one casino that has probably 10 restaurants if you could get them all using it,
my dad pretty much supported Las Vegas for a while, so I may be able to. I'm sure he owns or gave him one of the wings at the Caesar's Palace, so I may be able to have some contacts there. Be like, hey, get me in.
You remember my dad? Yeah, he donated a lot of money to you.
Yeah, exactly. Can you kick back some of that to the family?
But yeah, there's definitely opportunities everywhere. Like we've had one other grower who somebody popped up in their area selling. Well, and she's like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "Can you supply your 100,000 people? Can you feed every single person?" No. Okay, there's no such thing as competition then.
Gotcha. So as people get older, is this like something they're interested in, like retirement areas?
Yeah, we actually have one student, Jeff Hart, who went into a retirement home center and was selling to them and talking to them and everything else, and finally got the order from them. And they're like, "Yeah, we also operate 5 others with the kitchen," and he sold it to all 6 of them then.
Right.
So there's definitely that. We have older clientele that orders. We had one lady who's had health issues and everything else. She was ordering every week. She since has transitioned because her health went too bad where she couldn't actually get out and get it all the time and everything else. So she does it something different. But we had an older couple that was getting it every week. We've had quite a few older people that have been our clientels at the farmers markets, stuff like that. So
Right.
yeah, definitely
Okay.
all ages.
Yeah.
Probably more so, more so that older clientele probably needs it.
Yeah.
Harder to get nutrition in these days. Instead of taking all them pills, they could eat their medicine, so.
Right. Well, I was just thinking because my son lives in, or he has lived in a town right by a racetrack in Vegas, but it's Pahrump and it's more like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But Pahrump is all retired people. So,
Yeah.
right, it's like I don't know how interested they are. Maybe you have to sell them on it, but it is like super green stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about marketing, right? How you spin your language in the marketing for that, and you might have to target that marketing just slightly different and tailor it to what benefit it is for the older population, if that's your population there. And if we had that, I would definitely change my marketing around and definitely hit that area. So.
right. Okay.
And we can help with that. My wife's does that for the annual member. She has a marketing class once a month that she does. But we can help along the way. Even if you're on an annual, we can help out as well with some tidbits and stuff.
So what's the well, you're saying go ahead and get some racks and grow some stuff so you have some testers,
yeah,
and then go and talk to some people and leave them a sample. And it's like, hey, I just bring it in a sample today and just getting in front of them, right?
yeah.
And,
So basically, just like you start a business, you want to make sure one you can grow it.
Yeah.
And you can grow it right before you sell it. And you know what
Yeah.
you're going to get out of the tray. You can figure out your numbers, everything else. But then you go out and you give your first product away and make sure
Right.
that people like it and everything else. And, then you sell from that point. You
Okay.
follow back up. One thing I think a lot of people don't do well, they wait for the customers to contact them and they don't follow back up.
Mm,
And the customer is just sitting there waiting for you to follow up to say yes, but they don't follow up.
gotcha. So it's all about follow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. And they're busy, right? They're just
Yeah.
doing their thing. And
Yeah.
if you're in front of them and you follow up and there's a want, they'll go for it.
Exactly. And it may not be the first follow up, maybe the fourth follow up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a guy in the machine shop world. When I had a machine shop, he delivered donuts he sold metal, he sold aluminum, but he was higher than everyone else. But he brought me donuts every month. He would stop in and drop off donuts, say hi. And after a couple of years, my company was growing so fast that we had bought all of the aluminum on the West Coast. So I had to switch over to that guy. And he came in one day with donuts. I said, "It happened. I need you."
And he was the one in front, right? Of you.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the way it works.
Yep. So, okay. So the first step then is I'm going to go through your class. I got the start here part done.
Mm-hmm.
Then I guess there's
the class, the microgreens 10. Well, let me just pull it up in one of my mini tabs here.
right.
So in the classroom area, obviously you did start here, everything else. Next, there's the microgreen 101 basics
Yeah.
in there. That's the next classroom. That's where I would start and go through, and, kind of you want to define your business model, understand the products, just kind of go through that. And then setting up your growth space, that's important. Obviously, if you've never done this before, you want to make sure you know where to grow, how to grow, do all that stuff, everything else. These videos are like 4 years old at this point because I made them a long time ago, but they still staying true, right?
Okay.
And you'll see more of what the house grow was because that's where these were filmed at. So, which is why I want to keep them videos there because most people are going to start in their house.
Okay.
In a corner of their house, somewhere in their house, are going to start growing in the garage, something.
Yeah.
So I want to be relatable to people so they understand what it's possible. You show them a
Right.
4,000 square foot warehouse, they may be like, well, I can never do that.
Right.
And then they're done.
Yeah.
So setting up the racks, the fans, them are all important things to understand where to put the fans, how to put your racks, because you're going to need all that stuff to make sure the grow's right. Air circulation is huge. You don't want any, because there's mold in the air, right?
Okay.
Everywhere we're at, there's mold. So we don't want it settling down on the crops. So you want to have a fan circulating the air in the room, not directly on the crops, but blowing in the room, moving the air so no mold can settle down.
What kind of, I guess if you do it in the garage, you probably need to put some insulation in because it can get kind of hot or cold in there, right?
Yeah, depending on your garage setup, like some people you have them insulated garage doors already sometimes, and sometimes that's good enough. But we did when we transitioned to putting stuff into the garage, we did put a AC slash air conditioner unit in there, heater unit in there, so it
Okay.
would flip no matter what the weather was, and that worked fine. It was just a little stand thing, had the vent to go outside, thing, and set that up, and then that kept it good enough. And our garage was not insulated, but the garage doors were insulated, so it worked just fine for us. Now
Okay.
we're not extreme 110, 120 to or minus
Yeah.
30 either. So
Right.
although we get it occasionally, but it's not for long.
Okay. Let's
So yeah,
see.
work your way through that, and
Then
any
there's the
questions you
grow.
have along it.
Right. Then they have a grow along series would be next, right?
Yep. And I keep on adding stuff to that. We're doing a grow along series right now. We do it for all the annual members. They get to see it live. And then I put the recordings after we're done into that for everybody else to watch.
Okay.
You just don't get to grow along.
Okay. And then the group coaching replays. Okay, got that. Microgreens marketing. So that's upgrade to annual.
Yep.
And what does that give me? Is that the price sheets and all that stuff?
The marketing is we actually do once a month. So it has 30 or 40 or something videos in there. So it does all like the marketing, how to market your business and do all that stuff. So from SEO to logo labels, branding, SEO stuff, Square subscriptions, how to set all that stuff up, how to set up different Facebook groups, stuff like that, how to connect with people. It's a lot. And Jess does once a month, which was last night. She did the last one, which was a marketing call. She does the third Thursday of every month. She does a live call. So you get all your marketing questions answered, all that stuff and everything like that live. And she even goes in and helps people with any problems that they have or anything they're trying to set up and helps them set it up. So
How much so, okay, because I was kind of under the impression that you would get most of your work from, or business from going and knocking on restaurants and that type of
that's
stuff.
where it starts, and some people can stop right there and just service restaurants, but I believe in diversification. We all went through 2020 when everything shut down, right?
Right.
All the restaurants were shut down. People that did not have another sales outlet were in trouble. There was a guy in Canada that I know, huge farm. He's about our size, maybe a little bit bigger, and he was 99% restaurants. The day that they shut everything down in Canada was the day of his harvest to go to the restaurants the next day.
Oh,
Now he's got all that product plus all the product that he has ready for the next week started already, right? So he has
Yeah.
2 weeks worth of product to find some place to go with it. Now he got on social media and sold about half of it to people direct because they all were home too, so they needed something too. So, but didn't sell it all. So he still survived and still in business today. But if some people that would have folded them if they're just in one thing. So,
right.
and we are heavy in grocery stores now, but I don't think grocery stores would ever close down. If grocery stores close down, we probably got a lot of other issues going on that we don't need to be worrying about that. Man. So,
Yeah, I guess we're eating salad for the next year or two.
yeah. Yes. So that's why we went heavy grocery stores, and we do home deliveries, but we use another farmer to do that that we aggregate with, so we don't have to drive around everywhere now to do that. But
Okay.
so them are my two, like, and then we do restaurants. Restaurants are probably 15% of our business, but I don't live in Vegas either. It would probably be 85% restaurants, 15% grocery stores if I was in like Vegas or a heavy restaurant area.
Gotcha. Okay, so
So you need to have some other sales outlet than just one.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, because I was just thinking, at least I'm doing this with my son, and he would end up kind of owning it, and I'm just helping him along the way.
Gotcha.
But for me, the easiest sales are if you can go knock on a door, right, and say hi to someone, and
Yeah.
it's harder emotionally, but if you get used to it, at least it's person to person.
Yeah.
And doing the SEO and all of that, that might be, I don't know if my son would want to do that stuff. So we can talk about that.
Yeah.
So do you think if we were just doing restaurants and grocery stores that we could have a business out of that?
Oh yeah, you definitely can.
Okay.
And both of them are more so knocking on the door, but you do need some back end stuff, website stuff like that.
Oh, right, to
because
prove that you are a business.
business.
Yeah.
You know, because
Gotcha.
people who go in the grocery store and they see that name, they may not buy it the first time. Let me go
Yeah.
check out and see if they're a legit person and what's going on with them. So you got to have something built up there that,
Yeah,
you know, people are going to go to a website or Facebook or somewhere to find out about you.
sure.
And
Okay.
plus, we put our recipes on our Facebook, which has got on our YouTube plus our website where they can scan a code on the package and then they can go find out how to use the product as well.
Okay.
So
So do restaurants not, like, let's say there's not enough people growing this. So some restaurants are not using this product there, but they would like to. If you bring it to them, they might go, oh yeah, we could use that.
you have ones that are not using it because they can't get it locally. They have other ones that are getting it from a distributor and the quality is not good because most of it's coming from a farm. I'm going to say California. It might be a little closer for you on that end, but you know, most of them are coming from California or the one on the East Coast. It's coming from the coastlines. Even if they're right there, it's still got to go from them to the distributor, sit in the warehouse, and then go to the restaurant, right? So there's
Yeah.
4 or 5 days probably minimum, even if they're right in their backyard before they would get the product. So you can be like, hey, I harvested it yesterday. I deliver it to you today. It's the freshest product you're going to have. It's going to last beautifully for you all week. No problems. You know, you spin it that way
Right.
so that they get a better
Gotcha.
quality product. So you have one of them too with restaurants, not using it or they're getting it from a distributor usually.
Right. And just to make sure I heard this right from before, with you and your wife building this up, you're able to build it up to where you guys are making around $500,000 a year in sales, and maybe around 300 for profit between the two of you.
Probably half. We'll say half.
Half,
Just to be
okay,
conservative. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's see here. So working, let's say you have a garage and you can have, I guess, let's say that room that you have when you had that room filled up with that stuff, that's kind of a garage size, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Small garage. Yeah.
Yeah. So would that be, how much is that, like, if you have that kind of space, what kind of money could you make from that kind of space?
Well, at the time that was in there, that was 18 racks that we had in that room. Times somewhere around 9,000, I would be comfortable saying, maybe a little bit more than that, but around 9,000 in sales.
Okay.
We were making 10 plus, but conservative, I would say easily 9.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm sure at the end you were squeezing every last
Yes.
inch out of that room.
Exactly. And that's weekly, by the way, that I'm talking.
Oh, weekly.
Weekly.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's
Wait,
like,
so you're saying like 9,000 weekly instead of monthly?
Yeah, in sales, 9,000 a week. Yeah.
That's impressive. Okay, just from that size, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
and then
Each
it's
one of them trays is about $25 you can, on average, that you're going to get. Some be a little less, some be a little bit more, but about $25 a tray.
Okay.
and then the half of that's kind of what you end up with your expenses and all of that. So that's pretty good. Let's call it $4,000 a week, right?
Mm-hmm. Potential. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah.
I think Did you know that when you got into it that it was going to go like this, or?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not a vision that we would be where we're at all. As you go through it, obviously the visions change and change and change as you're going along, and it just keeps building, and more and more
Yeah.
people are wanting it, more and more sales outlets are happening. You just keep on working the business, and it just keeps going. I had envisioned that we'd be maybe here, probably not this much that what you see behind me. Probably a little bit less than that was my vision. I would be happy with 5,000 a week in sales. That was my like ultimate target when we started.
Right.
Obviously that has definitely changed, but that was in the beginning that was my thought process.
So as you transition over into marijuana, how much are you going to make in that size room?
Well, we're still trying to we're thinking about growing marijuana microgreens. Working with a marijuana company in Illinois, we would just grow it for them, and then we'd sell it to them, and then they would go out and do the selling of it. But
Right.
we haven't got back in contact with the recent, so I don't know what's going on with that. So
All right.
ran into the government issues,
Oh, yeah,
legislation
right.
issues.
You can't put any of your money in a bank.
Yeah. Well, it's not. It's can they like they were talking about like they would lease the space from us. And we would grow it, and then the lease space cost would be what the cost of the microgreens would be back to us. So
Right.
they're trying to work through the legal issues of trying to figure out how that would work. But yeah, it would be very profitable to do that, but not anytime soon.
I have a neighbor who does it, but he doesn't have it all set up like you. He has tents in his backyard. I know that's all he does for a living because he's always at home.
I know what you're doing, man. Now, when we had it in here and you see all those lights on and the windows are right there, right? They're
Yeah.
covered up, but some lights escape,
Yeah.
right? Our neighbors definitely thought that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
And they
Oh,
were
yeah.
most of them are cops, so that's kind of always fun.
Well, at least you have a good cover now for when you make that transition. It's okay. All right, honey, it's time to double down.
It says
Everyone thinks-
micros.
All right. So, shoot. Where along the line do we buy the stuff?
Well, in that resources, there's a resource if you scroll down.
Okay.
So there's a microgreen resource thing. So equipment
Yeah,
and supplies
resources.
list.
Yep.
You'll see that Google Doc. That kind of leads you through the 6-tier shelf, the grow lights to buy. I do recommend the 1T8 as you see here, just
Okay.
right down the middle of the racks.
Okay.
If you go with T5s, you got to do 2. They're slightly separated going down. They give about the same power out, but you really should just need one light going down the middle. You're just fine. And then your light timers and stuff like that. I do highly recommend getting the little power strips that you can set the timers on. They're called the Koskas.
Okay.
And it's in that list. So that way you can set the 12 hours on and 12 hours off, and it just goes on and off by itself, the lights. So you don't have to worry about turning them on and off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Highly recommend that. But yeah, that should be so the rack, the grow lights, the timer. The thermometer is kind of important. It's a little cheap little thing. Just tells you what the temperature of the room is, so you know if you need to cool it off or lower it down and kind of get that right temperature, right? Because 72 to 76 degrees, 75 degrees is like the right temperature for microgreens to grow.
Oh, okay.
And that's so you want to kind of keep the room at that temp.
Okay.
And keep the humidity in check. Keep the humidity under 50%.
Right. And that's all in the growing stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That teaches all through there. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I see equipment, sales, and guide, and then down below on the bottom of it, I see Google Doc. I guess that's where all the stuff is.
Yeah. If you just click on that Google Doc, it brings up that
Okay.
thing there. And
And click on the links, and the links will get us to where we can buy it.
Exactly.
Do you make money on that when we buy it through your link?
There's small referral links in there. Yeah.
Cool. Let's see, what else? Oh, as far as how complicated is it to collect money from people?
Not very complicated. So we use Square now.
Mm-hmm.
When we started, we used QuickBooks payment because we already had QuickBooks. We were using that, and they send you a free little payment thing.
Right.
But you can set up Square or Stripe or something really simple and easy to take money. And they all usually have an app that people can scan and pay on, or you can get a little reader to take payments. Restaurants usually will send you a check, or you can get a check when you deliver. We have restaurants gives us a check when we deliver. We have restaurants that send us a check 2 weeks later.
Okay.
Some of them give us cash when we show
Okay.
up. I take whatever payment way they want to take. I make it easy for them. How do you want to pay
Right.
me? That's the way I'm going to set it up for you, right?
Sure.
You
Yeah.
want to give me cash now? Sure. You want to send me a check? Fine. If you want to pay me in 2 weeks, cool. As long as you pay me.
Right. Do you get paid? So you get paid on delivery, or you deliver it and then maybe a couple weeks they'll pay you later?
Yeah, some of them are 2 weeks later. They'll send a check, because we have one restaurant group that we deal with. It's got multiple restaurants, so they have to send it off to their accountant, and then their accountant sends it back, and it's usually always within 2 weeks. It's just constant. Now the first one you might have to wait on
Yeah.
to get you in the system, kind of thing,
Right.
and then it gets consistent after that. So I always tell people, just because they didn't pay you within the 2 weeks that you told them you needed to pay in, it's probably working through their system if they're a big restaurant chain.
Oh, and then how many things are we thinking we would end up starting? Like, do you recommend, hey, start with these three or five or,
Yeah, I recommend 5 to start
Okay.
with. So you would start with like a broccoli, radish variety. One of the like True Leaf has a basic salad mix or a spicy salad mix. I would get one of them. Peas and sunflowers. Then would be the 5 that I would start with.
and that's all in the document somewhere?
It should be in the classroom. Yep, it should be in Microgreen Basic 101. Got to find out where it's at to show you exactly. Maybe. I will send you the link. I'll find it so we don't waste time on the call, but I'll send you this after this.
What is the thing that makes this business not work for people where they go, I don't know, and they walk away?
People are scared to go talk to people.
Yeah.
That's
Just like any
that's the
business,
biggest thing.
right?
Yeah. Like we talked about on, one of your calls, going and selling perfume on the street, and cologne. You find out you can talk to people pretty easy after that. So that's usually the biggest challenge, getting people out of their shell and going in. But like Cindy and Bill, you've seen that probably interview with them. She was deadly scared of going in and talking to restaurants. But she got her
Gotcha.
clipboard and she went in, and now she's got like 20 restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're actually doing pretty well, huh?
yeah.
Where are they located?
They're in Virginia.
Virginia. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just need to get our 20. I liked the way she described it. I just need my 20 seconds of courage to get me from the car through the door. And then I'm there. Now they have to talk to me.
Exactly. Exactly what I told her. I said, once you go in, you got to talk now. You're
Yeah.
there. So you just got to get through the door.
Yeah.
And she did
I
that.
remember I even talked about that in one of my sales courses where I'm like, I'm going to knock on the door and I couldn't do it. But then I figured out if I had a series of questions to ask and a flow, it was easy. So,
Exactly.
all right, cool. Any other questions, Steve, that you're thinking about? It's probably, hey, Steve, are you still there? Or did you take off?
Oh, sorry, it was muted for a second. What was that?
Oh, I was just wondering if you had any questions, because I feel like we went through quite a bit of it. And if do you have any thoughts on this?
Honestly, it seems pretty exciting. Like, just all of it seems pretty cool. Like, we can start moving pretty soon with it. It looks like.
Yeah. So if we start reading through this stuff, what does a timeline look like before you think we'd be out there like talking to someone? Would it be a month or 2
Well,
weeks?
depending on how fast you get your supplies in.
Right.
So that I can't necessarily speak on, but once you get your supplies in and you go through and you get your setup done, watch the videos how to set it up and put your rack together and put your lights up and everything else, which take just a day once you got all your supplies in, say one day. Then you can start growing, right?
Okay.
You got your supplies, you got your trays, you got your seeds, you got your soil. You start growing, grow your first crop. In 10 days, it's going to be done.
Yeah.
And you're going to go out and sample. Well, during that time frame, I would go ahead and start growing the next round of trays, right?
Okay.
Because I'm responsive and I know I'm going to go sell
Yeah.
it, with the samples I'm going out. So I want to have stuff ready if they want to buy it and I can have it to them next week. Now, I always tell them still that it is usually a 10 to 14 day window for orders
Right.
and going just to protect myself in case I don't have enough.
Yeah.
And then you get them on that constant order after that, and then you know what to grow. So really, within a couple weeks, you could be
Yeah.
making your first sell.
Okay. So we can go out there and get our courage and go, would you like something green today? Yes.
Have Steve behind you when you go to knock, and then you knock, and then he knocks for you. So you go ahead and go in.
Yeah, exactly. I'll lift my hand and he pushes the door open and then we're in.
And I always tell everybody in the restaurants, always go through the back door.
Mm.
If you go through the front door, the hostess, the server, whoever's at that front door is the gatekeeper, right?
Okay.
They're going to keep you away from the chef. If you go through the back door and you say, hey, I need to talk to chef. I got his samples here. They're going to go, oh, he's over there. And now you got a meeting with the chef.
There you go. It's like, hey, I have these free samples. What do you think? Right.
I have these free samples of microgreens. I got blah, blah, blah here for you. Have you ever used them before? And then you shut up and let him talk.
And if they've never used them before, they've obviously heard of them. They're a chef.
They're a chef, yeah. Yeah.
So they would know what to do with it. I don't have to teach them how to cook.
No, you don't necessarily, but it is always good to do your recon right and check and see if they have pictures on their Instagram usually and see if there's stuff out there. And you'd be like, hey, I see that you have this that you're using microgreens on. I seen this one you didn't have anything on, and I think this would pair with it really, really good. And then they know you know something about their restaurant. Then they're like, oh, that's cool. Chefs want to be buttered up, right? They're divas.
Yeah, that's
Talking
right.
good about their stuff, they're gonna become your friend.
Do you ever bring them a recipe and go, oh, hey, try this out, or no?
No, because I don't want to offend them because it's their restaurant, they're making stuff and everything else. I just say, do you have? Sometimes you'd be like, oh, I have some chervil. I don't see you have anything to pair with it. Have you ever made anything to go with that?
Right.
And then they're like, oh, yeah, we've done this before. And I was thinking about bringing it back, but I didn't have. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. I'm going to start that. Bring me some next week, can you?
Okay.
We have that before, so. And then we have one restaurant, the chef just keeps on ordering and ordering, and the order just keeps going up and up. We started at that restaurant at $40 a week.
Right.
It's now $500
Gotcha.
a week. So don't discredit any order.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, small, big, large, take everything because it's going to turn into something bigger if you keep servicing them right.
Okay. And shoot, any other questions, Steve?
No, I really don't have it.
Okay.
Well, if you have any other questions,
We've talked about a lot.
you know how to get a hold of me.
Yep.
Just message me in the group or make a post if you think it's valuable for other people as well. That's always helpful. And then we can answer it. And sometimes people answer it before I get a chance to if you make a post because they've already been taught it and then they can help you out as well. So
Awesome. Okay. So we're gonna give it a shot. That's the way it sounds right now. Steve and I will talk about it, but it sounds like he wants to give it a go.
This is the best option I have right now. This is pretty sick, honestly. Cool business.
awesome.
It is, right? I know I went sideways a little bit on Mike here, but I signed up a while ago, and my gut feel was just like, oh, this can help a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Because he's selling it's almost like a business in a box, and that's what people are looking for. And so, how many people do you have now that are growing?
That are consistently growing. We probably have 40 out of the main group, the business coaching group. There's a
Right.
couple who are dabbling, and they're just starting, and you got to get them kicked in the butt in gear. But 40 of them are actually growing and selling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So, and they're all over the country, huh?
All over the country. Yeah. We got some in the world. We got a couple. Yeah. If you look at the map, which is a nice feature,
Oh.
you'll see it. There's a couple of them overseas. Got one in the Netherlands area, and then one in Bulgaria.
I wonder, I guess the lower cost countries like Southeast Asia and those guys probably don't pay for stuff like that, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, probably not. It's usually like most of the time it's English speaking kind of countries that we're focused on.
Yeah.
Like Bulgaria, they speak some English. She's pretty good about it, when she gets on calls. But that one was a little out there. But she's got some interesting things she's wanting to do. So did have one in Australia at one point that was growing, but I don't think they're with us anymore. But yeah, a couple in Hawaii. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I guess if you were going to do it in Southeast Asia, they'd probably be growing it for themselves
Yeah.
if they were doing that. All right. So, let's see. Anything else? I guess that's it. I appreciate you taking the time to talk
Yes.
through it with us, and love that background. I feel like I'm in that room.
Yes. I bring you in.
So, all right. Well, we're going to get to work and start reading through stuff, and we'll look forward to touching base as we go.
Yep. Get your supplies ordered, get that in, and
Yeah.
start growing.
All right. And you're saying just start like with one of these racks that you have,
Just one.
and then just buy and I guess a bunch of these plastic things to fill it up,
Yep.
and then seeds,
And
Just-
seeds. Yep.
5 different seeds.
5 different seeds. The easiest one to get them from, which it's in the resources, you can look that up. But True Leaf, True Leaf or Johnny's, either one of them is the ones I would get that you can get. But it's definitely. I'll send you all the resources and stuff we talked about here. So
Okay. Awesome. All right. Let's see where it goes.
all right, good talking to you guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
you too. But